The days after Jake's confession were like walking on thin ice for Emma. Each morning she woke with a restless heart, wondering if she had made the right choice to open this door. The idea of 4 other men in their bedroom, in their most private space, was hard to imagine. Yet she also felt something shifting inside, a strange mixture of fear, curiosity, and even a growing trust in Jake's love for her. Jake was patient during these days. He didn't push her. Instead, he answered every question with honesty, never rushing her, always reassuring her that their relationship was what mattered most. He wanted her to feel safe, even as he shared his most vulnerable desire. Emma spent hours thinking about what this new chapter would mean. How would it change the way she saw Jake? Would it change the way she saw herself? She felt a strange tug, part jealousy, part intrigue, part a deep longing for connection that went beyond just the two of them. One afternoon, they sat on the porch of their small New Jersey home, wrapped in blankets against the late spring chill. The garden around them was blooming with lilacs and jasmine, sweet scents filling the air. "I've thought a lot," Emma said softly, her eyes searching Jake's. "If we do this, I want to set rules, boundaries, because this is our marriage. First, you and me." Jake nodded, his eyes full of respect. "Absolutely. Nothing happens without you feeling completely comfortable. We decide everything together." Over the next few days, they talked more than ever. They made lists: what felt okay, what didn't. They talked about emotions, about jealousy, about how to protect their love. Every conversation brought them closer, even as it stretched them in ways they never expected. Jake introduced Emma to the men he had carefully chosen. These were friends he trusted deeply, men who respected their marriage and who understood the delicate balance of this situation. Each one was kind, patient, and seemed to genuinely care about Emma's feelings. The first meeting was simple and quiet. They gathered in the living room, sharing tea and stories, trying to make the unfamiliar feel a little less frightening. Emma felt nervous, but also surprised at how easy the men were to talk to. They weren't strangers. They were people who cared about Jake and, by extension, about her still. The idea of the bedroom, their sacred space, felt like a line too far. The night when they would cross it loomed large in Emma's mind. Her heart beat faster just thinking about it. What would it feel like to share Jake in such a personal way? Would she still feel like his wife, his partner, the woman he loved most in the world? Jake noticed her hesitation and never failed to hold her close, reminding her that love wasn't about possession, but about trust and freedom. "Whatever happens," he whispered one night as they lay tangled in the sheets, "I am yours, always." Finally, the evening arrived. Emma felt a mix of emotions she had never known before: nervous excitement, fear, longing, and an overwhelming desire to be brave for both of them. The 4 men arrived quietly, their respect for Emma and Jake clear in every gesture. The room was soft with candlelight and gentle music, a setting chosen to create calm and comfort. Emma stood near Jake, feeling his hand find hers. She looked into his eyes and found the reassurance she needed. The night was not about chaos or wildness, but about tenderness and slow discovery. There was laughter, quiet conversations, and moments when Emma could see the deep respect the men had for her and Jake's bond. At times, the closeness brought unexpected emotions, waves of jealousy mixed with profound connection. Emma realized that this experience was as much about understanding her own heart as it was about Jake's fantasy. There were moments when she thought she might feel overwhelmed, but Jake's presence grounded her. His love was a constant anchor, reminding her that no matter what, their marriage was the foundation. As dawn approached, Emma felt a quiet peace settle over her. The fear and tension had softened into something new, an intimacy that went beyond physical boundaries. When the men left, Jake and Emma lay together in their bed, fingers intertwined, hearts beating in slow, steady rhythm. Jake kissed her forehead gently. "Thank you for trusting me, for trusting us." Emma smiled, tears of relief and love shining in her eyes. "Thank you for being honest with me, for loving me enough to share your truth." Their love had crossed a line, one they never expected to face, but in doing so, it had deepened, opening a door to a new understanding of each other. Emma knew this was not the end of their journey, but the beginning of a path they would walk together, hand in hand. Stronger than ever, the first light of dawn crept softly through the curtains of Emma and Jake's bedroom. The room was still quiet except for the gentle rise and fall of their breathing. The four men who had been part of Jake's long-held fantasy had left hours ago, leaving behind a silence filled with unspoken feelings, tender glances, and the fragile but powerful bond that had just been reshaped. Emma lay beside Jake, their fingers intertwined, their bodies still close but calm now. Her heart was pounding not from excitement this time, but from the rush of emotions that came after crossing a boundary they never thought they would approach. She felt a strange combination of vulnerability and strength, fear and peace, jealousy and deep love all tangled up inside her. For a long moment, they simply held each other, finding comfort in the familiar rhythm of their connection. Emma turned her head slightly and looked into Jake's eyes, searching for the words that could explain everything swirling inside her. "I don't know how to say this," she whispered, her voice soft but steady, "but I feel ... different. I feel like I understand you more now. And maybe I understand myself more too." Jake smiled gently, brushing a loose strand of hair from her face. "I feel it too," he said quietly. "It's like something inside us shifted. The love we have, it's not just about being together in the usual way anymore. It's about trust, honesty, and being brave enough to face what scares us most." Emma nodded, tears filling her eyes not of sadness, but because she felt deeply moved. They had taken a risk, a leap into unknown territory, and somehow their love had grown stronger. It wasn't easy, hadn't been perfect, but it was real. "Do you think we single quotes read ... different now?" she asked, the question hanging in the air between them. Jake thought for a moment, then said, "Yes. But in the best way, our love isn't confined anymore. It's bigger, deeper, and freer. We've broken down walls we didn't even know existed. And that scares me a little, but it also makes me hopeful." Emma reached out to touch his cheek, feeling the steady warmth of his skin beneath her fingertips. "I was afraid I'd lose you," she admitted softly. "But now I know I won't. Because love like ours isn't about control or fear. It's about trust. And you, Jake, have shown me what that really means." They lay together in the quiet morning light, wrapped in each other's arms. The weight of the night's experience settled over them, not like a burden, but like a gentle reminder that love is never simple, but it is always worth fighting for. Over the next few days, Emma and Jake found themselves looking at each other with new eyes. The conversations between them grew even more honest and open. They talked about boundaries, desires, fears, and hopes. They learned how to listen better, not just to words, but to feelings. Their marriage, once a comfortable routine, now felt alive with possibility. Emma discovered a new confidence in herself, feeling that she could face difficult truths and still come out stronger. Jake saw in Emma a depth and courage he hadn't fully appreciated before. One afternoon, as they walked hand in hand through the park near their home, Emma stopped to watch a pair of swans gliding across a small pond. The birds moved gracefully, their necks forming a heart shape in the water. It struck her how love, like the swans, could be both delicate and strong, something to cherish and protect. "I'm glad we did this," she said, squeezing Jake's hand, even though it was scary. Jake smiled, looking down at her with all the love in his eyes. "Me too. It brought us closer. It showed me how lucky I am to have you." That evening, as they prepared dinner together in their cozy kitchen, Emma felt a peaceful happiness settle inside her. The fantasy Jake had shared, a fantasy that once felt like it might break them, had instead opened a door to deeper understanding and connection. Their love was no longer just about two people. It was about the freedom to be honest, the courage to face fears, and the willingness to grow together even when the path wasn't easy. Emma looked across the room at Jake, who was chopping vegetables with his usual careful focus. She smiled, knowing that whatever came next, they would face it side by side. Love, she whispered to herself, is the bravest thing we'll ever do. And with that, she stepped closer to Jake, ready to build a future filled with trust, hope, and endless possibilities. Emma stood by the kitchen window, watching the rain fall softly outside their New Jersey home. It was a quiet evening, one of those rare moments when the world seemed still, and time slowed just enough for her to catch her breath. Jake was in the living room, flipping through a book, the gentle rustle of pages blending with the patter of rain. Their life together was peaceful and familiar. After 6 years of marriage, they had built a comfortable routine filled with small joys shared. Morning coffees, lazy Sunday afternoons, and the warm glow of understanding in each other's eyes. Emma loved Jake deeply. He was her best friend, her partner, her anchor in a world that often felt too fast and overwhelming. But tonight, something was different. She could feel it in the way Jake's shoulders seemed tense, in the way his eyes flicked up nervously when she glanced his way. There was a quiet energy in the air, a secret waiting to be spoken. Emma's heart fluttered with a mixture of curiosity and apprehension. She stepped into the living room, the soft sound of her footsteps breaking the silence. "Jake," she asked gently. He looked up, forcing a small smile, but his eyes held a shadow she hadn't seen before. "There's something I want to tell you," he said softly, voice trembling just enough to make her sit beside him. Emma reached for his hand, her touch steady and reassuring. "You know, you can tell me anything." Jake took a deep breath, searching for courage in the quiet room. "It's been on my mind for a long time," he said, hesitating. "I've been afraid to share it because I didn't want to hurt you or make you uncomfortable." Emma's pulse quickened. "What is it?" He paused, looking down at their intertwined hands before meeting her gaze again. "It's a fantasy I have. Something I've never told anyone, not even myself, until recently." Emma's breath hitched. She squeezed his hand, silently encouraging him to go on. Jake's voice was barely more than a whisper. "It involves other men for other men, actually, and it's about sharing that part of myself with you, with us." The words hung in the air, fragile and heavy all at once. Emma blinked, her mind racing. For other men. Her heart felt like it was both breaking and expanding at the same time. She looked at Jake, her husband, the man she trusted more than anyone, and saw the vulnerability shining in his eyes. "Why now?" she asked softly, her voice trembling. "Because I trust you," he said simply. "Because I want us to be completely honest. And because I think this fantasy could bring us closer, not tear us apart." Emma's thoughts spun in circles. She loved Jake fiercely, but this was unlike anything she had imagined. The room seemed smaller. The silence louder. Tears threatened to spill, but she blinked them back. She wanted to understand him, to hold him through this. But a part of her was afraid of losing the life they had built, afraid of the unknown. "Can you help me understand?" she whispered. Jake nodded, relief washing over his face. "It's not just about desire. About trust, freedom, and breaking down walls we didn't even realize were there. I want us to explore this together, if you're willing." Emma leaned into him, her head resting on his shoulder. "I don't know what this means for us yet, but I want to try, 'cause I love you." Jake wrapped his arms around her, holding her close as the rain continued to fall outside. In that moment, their love felt both fragile and unbreakably a promise to face the unknown hand in hand. The night stretched ahead, full of questions and hope. Emma knew their journey was just beginning, that it would test everything they thought they knew about love, trust, and the bonds that held them together. But for now, all she felt was the steady beat of Jake's heart against hers. and the quiet whisper of a secret shared at last. Emma sat quietly on the edge of their bed. The soft hum of the evening rain against the window mixing with the gentle flicker of the bedside lamp. Jake stood across the room, looking nervous something she rarely saw in him. Usually he was confident, steady, the rock in their relationship. But tonight his hands trembled slightly, and his eyes held a vulnerable honesty that made Emma's heart ache. She wanted to reach out to him, to pull him close and say everything would be okay. But she knew this was something he had to say in his own time, in his own way. So she waited, biting her lip, trying to read the feelings behind the words he hadn't yet spoken. Jake took a deep breath, stepping closer, his voice low but clear. Emma. I've been holding something inside for a long time. I'm scared you might think I'm different, or maybe even that I don't love you the way I say I do. But the truth is, I do love you with all my heart. Emma felt warmth spread across her cheeks at his words, but her mind was already racing. What was he about to say? She had no idea. He paused, searching for the right words. There's a fantasy I have, something I've wanted to share with you, but I wasn't sure if you'd understand or accept it. It's about ... involving others in our intimate life. Not just one person, but for other men. The room seemed to still for a moment. Emma's breath caught in her throat. 4 men. She blinked, trying to keep her thoughts steady as a wave of shock washed over her. She looked at Jake's face, searching for any hint of doubt or hesitation in his eyes, but instead she saw nothing but honesty and love. "Why now, Jake?" she whispered, her voice fragile but steady. "Why tell me this tonight?" He took her hands in his, gentle and reassuring. "Because I love you, Emma, and because I trust you more than anyone. I want us to be completely honest with each other about everything. I don't want to hide this part of me anymore. It's not that I want to replace you or that I'm unhappy with us. This fantasizes about something deeper. It's about connection, trust, and exploring new parts of our relationship." Emma squeezed his hands, trying to understand the swirling emotions inside her confusion. Fear, curiosity, and an unexpected spark of hope. "I've thought about it for years," Jake continued, "and I want you to know I wouldn't do this without you. It has to be something we explore together, and only if you feel comfortable. This isn't about just sex or excitement. It's about breaking down walls, about freedom and honesty. I want us to grow closer." Emma's heart ached with the weight of his words. This was unlike anything she had imagined in their life. Their love had always been simple, steady, safe. Now, it felt like a door had been opened to a new and unknown world. One that scared her and intrigued her all at once. She thought about the years they had spent building their life, how Jake had been her best friend. Her partner, the person she trusted most in the world. She remembered their quiet mornings together, the way he made her laugh, the way he held her when she was scared or sad. Could this fantasy really be a part of the man she loved? Could it be a path to something even more real and deep? Tears welled up in Emma's eyes, not from sadness, but from the rawness of the moment. She leaned into Jake, letting herself be vulnerable. "I don't know if I'm ready," she said honestly, "but I want to try. I want to understand." Jake's face softened with relief and gratitude. "Thank you, Emma. That means everything to me." They sat in silence for a long time, hands entwined, hearts beating in quiet rhythm. The rain continued outside, a gentle reminder that life, like love, could be messy and unpredictable, but also beautiful and renewing. In that moment, Emma realized that love wasn't about perfection or rules. It was about honesty, courage, and the willingness to walk into the unknown together.